Welcome to another edition of Squib Kick Radio. I am your host, as always, Elias Powell, and I am joined here with both Riley Pollock and Harry Burton. How are you two doing, gentlemen?
Doing well on this fine day, thank you.
Pretty good. Been pulled away from NHL playoffs to do a football show, but you know, it's going to be a good time.
Yep, the NHL playoffs are in full swing, but we have to report on the news throughout the NFL, CFL, and sprinkle in a little AAF. But to just set up the show today, we have a big signing in the NFL in ways of Russell Wilson. He re-signs with the Seattle Seahawks. We'll get into that today. We also have some news out of the CFL. They have conducted their European Draft and have made some changes to the rules for this upcoming season. And we're going to get into the dumpster fire that is the AAF and what's going on with there. But in all things sports, there's some recognition that needs to be tossed out today, and that is Tiger Woods has won his first major in 11 years, winning the Masters this past weekend. So congrats to Tiger. Boys,
Tiger,
what's your take on that?
Tiger.
He's my favorite individual athlete in the world. Individual sports, Tiger Woods, number one. I love him.
The greatest comeback in sports history.
Yep.
I can't disagree with that.
Oh,
okay,
really?
Well,
I can't.
You can't disagree. I was like, okay, let's hear it, Riley.
okay, I was going to say...
Yeah.
Well,
I could feel the heat.
Yeah, and just to preface sort of the last time what the world looked like, I guess, when the last time Tiger won a major, Twitter did not exist. Everyone's favorite Packer, Brett Favre, was still playing football. And we were all about 14, 15 years old. So that's, I guess us on the show, maybe not you guys listening, but that's where we were at.
Yeah.
So, pretty crazy stuff. Love to see it. Just what a absolute comeback from basically thinking you'd never be able to swing a golf club again to winning the Masters for his fifth time.
You could feel it on Sunday. There was something brewing. I was sitting at work watching it instead of watching the Jays game that I probably should have been watching for work. And the whole 18, you could just see him building momentum. He bogeyed early, and usually he has been kind of falling off when he's hit rough patches early in rounds on Sundays lately, but he jumped right back onto the birdie train, and Tiger Woods, champion, hero, all-around great guy.
And it was just awesome to come together with everyone, because there was you can't talk to anybody who wasn't cheering for Tiger Woods on the weekend. I don't know. You know, we have all the guys, and we all have our different teams in every sport, and we love razzing each other, but all of us were together. Everyone.
Yeah, we talked on our group chat. We talked on our group chat literally the entire time he was golfing, and would get fired up with every shot. It was really cool. It really brought the sports world together.
Yeah, it was a great day. Great day for sports and for golf. But let's get into the NFL. Biggest news so far, I guess, in the past couple weeks, we've kind of entered into a lull in the NFL where we're before the draft, we're probably 4 weeks out of, free agency having started already. Everything's sort of calmed down. But Russell Wilson re-signs with the Seattle Seahawks on a 4-year, $140 million contract. Huge signing. That now makes him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And Seattle gets to keep their guy around for another 4 years.
Yeah, $65 million signing bonus doesn't hurt a guy either. I wonder what he went and bought with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Some would say a gold-plated Bible, but we don't really know.
I could see it.
Yeah. And one of the big, actually, controversies from that whole Russell Wilson contract extension talk, some say there's rumors that he wasn't going to show up for camp. He needed his contract done before he was going to go to work. That turned out to be a lie. And then it surfaced a couple days, actually, before he signed his contract that he was requesting a fluctuating contract to move with the ebb and flow of cap space, which is football club suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
was stupid.
It was. I thought he was doing it for a reason, though. Like, I thought he was just trying to get out of Seattle and go join the Giants. But no.
Yeah, I thought he wanted
not.
out. Like, I did not think he was re-signing. And the day that he signed was the last day before his, like, cutoff was. He didn't want to sign a contract close to the season, so the day that he signed was the final day that he wanted to negotiate. And they got it done, and I truly thought that he wanted out of Seattle, but clearly that's not the case.
Yeah. It's, I kind of thought the same thing, and then, of course, pretty much everyone thought the Giants would go after him. Those rumors started swirling around, but, yeah, signs a contract staying in Seattle, which is a good move by Seattle. I think you keep him in there, you pay him what he needs to be paid, but as far as giving him that fluctuating contract, that's stupid, and no player actually should get that fluctuating contract realistically.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, like, what if you get hurt? Well, and with a fluctuating contract, that could go both ways, you know? Like, it's not just going to be a clause for Russell Wilson to always be getting more money. Like, you would think with a fluctuating contract, it's like you start to suck, they should be able to pay you less. If you're wanting to be paid more.
That wouldn't be the case.
You never know. But, yeah, big news there. That's, as far as big headlines go, I think that's about it, realistically. Well, the schedule is now up today. That actually got released a couple hours ago, I believe, from when we're recording. So, the new season is scheduled. It's up. You can buy tickets, find them. There's rumblings here at the Squib Kick Radio that we might be attending an NFL game this year, so that would be sweet. But yeah, see when your team's playing, big games where they are, and yeah, I guess
it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I guess with that,
opening day, Sep 5, Bears versus Packers at Soldier Field. Doesn't get much better than that rivalry when both teams are good.
Yeah,
I think one of the teams will be good, but I don't think the Packers are going to be very good.
No, I think the Packers are toast. I think Aaron's done. I think he's starting to be washed up.
Well, the last 2 seasons, he hasn't been Aaron Rodgers. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm still heartbroken that Khalil Mack is gone, so it's always going to be tough to root for the Bears. So.
Yeah. Riley, why don't you let us know what's going on in the AAF?
Well, the AAF has officially filed for bankruptcy. They've been hanging on to a lot of player contracts. They've been allowing them to sign in the NFL, but they weren't allowing players to go to the CFL because they wanted to use the contracts as leverage in their bankruptcy claim. Right now, they're claiming that they have just over $500,000 cash total and like over $11 million worth of contracts that they have to pay out. So hanging on to those contracts kind of puts it to paper that they still have to pay these guys out, blah, blah, blah. So basically, they're just using these players and not allowing them to go get a job on another football team, which I think is BS. So, yeah, the AAF is garbage, and I think it's dirty to keep these players away from playing the sport they love and making money for them and their families.
I definitely don't disagree with you there, but I know the response from the other side, and it's going to be, it's a business. This is America. Build up businesses.
Sue us if you don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just holding on. Realistically, they won't be around for much longer. But
no,
I mean, you got to do what you got to do. If you can do something to help you in bankruptcy, you're probably going to do it.
Yeah, and like a lot of those players anyway that left the CFL to go there, it's like, well, screw you anyway then.
Yeah.
I mean, how's your league doing now, buddy?
It's unfortunate, but it seems to be the way it goes in the NFL.
Yeah. But yeah, not a whole lot of news out of the AF, just them being scuzzy still. So
yeah. Where we do have some news, though, is the CFL.
Yeah, it's there's a lot going on in the CFL right now, and a lot of it isn't good, I wouldn't say, for the league. The CFL suspended CBA talks with the CFLPA till the 29th of April. That's like a month before preseason starts, so you've got to think about camp and all that, and today the players pissed, said that they're not happy that the owners are holding on to their off-season bonus checks, and they said they're not going to go to camp without a collective bargaining agreement in place. They have, in the past CBA agreements, They've gone to camp even without a deal just because they thought it was inevitable that they were going to make a deal. But now the players are saying, no, like, give us our money or frig off. So as of now, there is no deal in place. They're not talking again until the 29th, and the players are pissed.
Yeah, and as they should be. You know, in the past, it hasn't been that much of a discussion, but with the rapid expansion of the CFL itself, they got to pony up. They got to start paying these guys.
Well, I think TSN has to start paying, or I don't know.
Well, they just struck a deal with ESPN and ESPN Plus that every single CFL game is going to be on some format of ESPN. So you got to think they're getting some money from that. They've expanded to Mexico. They're working on a deal with the Mexico TV station there. They're working on European stuff. Like, I mean, the CFL's not broke. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers made over $2 million profit last year. I haven't seen numbers from the other teams yet. I just saw that come across the CFL wire this week. So, I mean, they're not broke. It's not like they're squeezing money out of these CFL teams. They just want something fair. I mean, rookie players can get paid under like $50,000, I believe it is. And if you're on the practice roster, like, you're not making much money. They just want a livable wage to put their body on the line, and I think it's fair.
Yeah,
I agree. But do you foresee a lockout, Riley?
No, I don't think that the players can afford to not play football this year, personally. I think a deal will get done probably around that April 29th date. Like, I'd say within a week of then, they'll hammer out some talks. And I think the salary cap will go up, the minimum pay will go up, but not by as much as the players want, I don't think. And I think they're just going to have to settle for a deal and get the show on the road, because I don't think the league or the players can afford a lockout.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't think they can, and I don't want to find out if they can.
Yeah, I completely
I'd be
agree.
pissed if there was no CFL.
Well, Riley, why don't you just take a moment here and actually break down what these conversations are like, what this collective bargaining agreement sort of breaks down to. Like, what are the kind of the conversations that are actually going down and players trying to get?
Well, the players just want a higher minimum pay, and they want the salary cap to go up because they've seen that when the AAF folded, I think a lot of their argument went away because, like, oh, the AAF's paying everybody. Yeah, and now they're folded. So it's basically the PA just sends representatives to talk with the CFL. They want more player safety, stuff like that, because they don't think that the CFL is actually wanting player safety. They're just like a figurehead. They're just saying things but not actually taking any action on them. There's been some ratio talks that the two sides are arguing about. They want to drop the ratio from 7 Canadians to 5 Canadians. And yeah, it's mostly money. They just want more money. And the owners are holding their bonus checks, which is pissing the players off even more. So, I mean, they just have to get down, sit at a table, hammer it out, get the minimum pay up, get the salary cap up, even if it's just a little bit. Like, I know that they have the ability to do these things. Randy Ambrosie's just playing a little bit of hardball right now, and I hope it doesn't bite him in the ass.
Yeah, it'd be tough to see the commissioner doing as good a work as he has been doing, than to just get bit in the ass by old collective bargaining agreement. So I'm
100% players' side, though. I'm just going to put that out there. I think the players are definitely not in the wrong to try and get more money because they don't get paid very much.
No, they don't get paid much at all. I remember when we were back in high school, we would have rider players in the off season be substitute gym teachers for us. So
yeah,
there you go. If they're being substitutes during the week.
There's some more positive stuff out of the CFL. European Draft got held.
Nice. And
that Theodric Hansen linebacker that I was talking about on the previous show, who tested very well, went second overall to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So I was right in my assessment, I guess, that he was one of the better players at the Combine. And it was just one round. Every team got one European player. So there was 4 players from France, 3 Germans, 1 Italian, and 1 Finn that were taken. And it seems like the CFL might have got a bit of a head start on this whole European thing, because there's been some rumors going around that the NFL wants to dip into the European market now. But a lot of the European leagues have signed commitments with the CFL, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But maybe Randy Ambrosie was onto something with expanding.
Yeah, that would be awesome for the CFL.
Yeah, we touched on. Did anyone take that punter that could punt like 70 yards? I don't know.
That was from the Mexico draft,
Right.
and he's property of Montreal.
Oh.
And he's going to camp and everything. Like, he's there.
Wow, that would be gross. 70-yard punts. It's aggressive.
Yeah, well, the Riders will have John Ryan, hopefully, so.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad addition. And then I guess wrapping up the CFL here, what about the rule changes that we touched on earlier?
Yeah, there's been a few rule changes. They announced quite a few. I'm just going to touch on a few of them. They've accepted a few proposals for the upcoming seasons. They haven't technically passed it, but like they're going to pass it. The command center can now assess roughing the passer penalties if the refs miss them on the field. And they can upgrade them from 15-yard roughing the passers to 25-yard penalties if it's deemed egregious enough.
Oh, wow.
So that's a big thing. I mean, there was a lot of headshots late in the season that were going unnoticed last year, specifically on Zach Collaros. And so now they've changed that. They can call it from the sky. It won't be challengeable, I don't believe. The command center will just call down and assess it without challenge flags, which is nice because it keeps the game sped up a little bit. They probably watch it once or twice. The quarterback got hit in the head, call a penalty. So that's nice. They're going to crack down on spearing, which is when a player uses the top of their helmets to tackle. So if they're just driving with their heads, that can be assessed as a 15 or 25-yard penalty as well, I believe. And if a player gets 2 25-yard penalties in a game, they're kicked out. So it's kind of like college with those, the targeting penalties.
Targeting.
So they can do that as well. And then my favorite, which is if a coach is successful on their first challenge, will be awarded another challenge. Whereas previously, if a team challenges, they get that one challenge no matter what, if they win or they lose. So because the CFL refs aren't the greatest, I think if you win a challenge, you should get a second one because chances are a ref's probably going to miss another call in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think aren't the greatest is saying it nicely for sure.
But yeah, I mean, that roughing the passer one's a big one though. Making it a 25-yard penalty on big hits, that could change games and field position in an instant.
Yeah, it definitely could change the course of a game, even come late. I do want to switch gears a little bit here and touch a little bit on the NFL again, as I'm just taking a look through the news, and the Arizona Cardinals have released their schedule release video, as all the teams are doing, as they seem to be battling for supremacy of who has the best video.
Josh Rosen's not in it, is he?
And key absence is Mr. Josh Rosen.
Yes.
So
I didn't even see that, but I could predict it.
Yep. So a little interesting news potentially coming down the pipe here from Arizona, but
You're a bit of a Cardinals fan, right? Like you have a soft spot for the old Cardinals?
I do have family that have been down in Arizona for a very long time, and so I do hold a place in my heart for those Arizona teams. Big Phoenix Suns fan, which is hard to say nowadays.
They'll be all right.
Coyotes don't really care. Big D-backs fan. So Cardinals are in there. I mean, how do you not like Larry Fitzgerald?
Yeah,
I mean, like,
he's an unhateable person in my opinion. He's one of the few.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Right up there.
So
not on Tigers level by any means, but he's up
so
there.
like that's for sure. Oh, I can't believe I just said that word. That's for sure.
And
Thank
we are
you,
recording
Riley.
Right now, so we will have that forever.
Yeah. Oh, I'm aware that it's this will be on air. I'm sorry to all my listeners. That word will never come out of my mouth again. For sure, Kyler Murray, number one overall. You can't just cut the starting quarterback from your schedule video.
Yeah, that's making a statement. That's for sure. That's like doing. I mean, I don't think anyone really does this, but so it's a pretty bad comparison. But I'm going to say it anyway. If you did like a year in review video on your social media and you had a girlfriend, you just didn't include her.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Okay, cool. I guess a little bit of other news we missed in the NFL. Demaryius Thomas is signing with the New England Patriots, so look for him to probably put up over 10 touchdowns with Tom Brady next year.
When one of our friends commented Thomas to the Patriots, at first I thought it was Michael, and I almost just quit NFL.
Yeah, that would have been scary. But yeah, that's news. I think we're going to wrap things up here with, as promised, our new favorite preseason segment, and it's Riley's draft preview. So we touched on it a bit in our last episode. We're going to do receivers this week. Crazy heavy receiver draft class this year. There's a bunch of incredible players coming out. So Riley, let's take it away.
I spent more time on this than I have on any other thing for Squib Kick Radio because it was just so hard to put 7 in an order from 1 to 7. Like, there's so many good receivers. So I'm sorry to anyone that thinks that I got this wrong, but I think I'm right.
Find us in the DMs at Squib Kick Radio.
Slide into my DMs and sass me. All right, shall we get started? This is a tough one. First overall is very argued right now, but I am going to go with Nikhil Henry from Arizona State. Nikhil Henry, sorry, yeah. I was saying Henry in my head, so I said Henry.
You'd be surprised
Nikhil
how
Henry
often
from
the two
Arizona
names get
State.
confused.
He's going to go in the first round. He's going to go 9th overall to the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, gross.
The Bills were so close to landing Antonio Brown, but there are reports that he said he would rather retire than play for the Bills. So now they need someone to lean on, team up with Josh Allen there, and I think Nikhil Henry is the best option for them. There's a lot of argument for who number 1 in the league for receivers are, but he could be anywhere from 1 to 5. I don't know. It's all really on team preference, but I think he fits with the Bills, and he has the most upside in this year's loaded NFL draft at receiver. I'm sorry, Eli. I know how much you love him.
I know.
It's going to be interesting.
Harry, maybe you have a take on this. Did you have him going first overall? Because I love him. He carried my my beloved Arizona State, basically their entire team. So he's a stud. I don't think he's first overall though. I think there's just too much hype around these other guys that'll take over.
I'm still holding faith the Raiders pick him up. Maybe Gruden. Maybe Gruden knows what he's doing.
Maybe, but probably not.
I'd say.
Yeah, so I have him at 1. Number 2, Marquis Brown from Oklahoma. I really, really like Marquis Brown. He's going to go 15th overall to the Washington Redskins.
Gross.
The Skins pretty depleted at receiver. They don't really have a great receiving core at all. I think he'll help them out. He's been a stud at Oklahoma. And I'd let the Skins take a QB in round 2 in my previous mock. So I think they'll take a receiver here and get kind of that future 1-2 combination with Marquis Brown.
Interesting. I don't know. The Skins need someone, so I mean, it's not a surprise there.
Yeah.
One receiver is not going to help the Skins this year.
Well, I know because they need a quarterback. They need a quarterback, not a receiver. But
they should just go long haul. Just accept it.
Well, I have them taking Will Grier from West Virginia in the second round.
Yeah.
So maybe they do have a quarterback. 3rd overall, my personal favorite receiver in this entire draft, A.J. Brown from Ole Miss, 16th overall, right after Marquis Brown to the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers, I think, are looking for a receiver to help with that whole Newton-McCaffrey combination. They do have Funches and that young guy, DJ Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That they just picked up last year. So I think that if they can find Moore and Brown together with McCaffrey and Newton, that offense is going to be absolutely sick. I think A.J. Brown is the best receiver in this draft. A lot of people disagree with me, but I just see so much upside. I've done quite a bit of film study on him, and I love A.J. Brown. So it's really hurting me to say that he's going to the Panthers, because as a Falcons fan, I'll have to see him rip the Falcons defense up for his entire career. But I think the Panthers get a steal at 16 with A.J. Brown.
Yeah, that
That's
could be
that
could be a dangerous combo. The Panthers could become a pretty dangerous team again if Cam can figure it out.
Yeah, and now the most talked about receiver in this year's NFL draft, DK Metcalf from
Stud.
Miss as well. He's going first round, 22nd overall to the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens have had no good receivers, drafting, picking up. They just have had very, very bad luck at getting receivers recently. Metcalf is a north-south speed receiver. He's huge. He's an absolute massive human being. And I think he can blow the lid off defenses. And with Lamar Jackson's inability to throw the deep ball accurately, I think he can just launch the ball as far as he can and have Metcalf go get it with his size and speed. So I think that Lamar Jackson gets significantly better if DK Metcalf gets signed to the Baltimore Ravens.
I can just see Metcalf with a Ravens jersey on now that you say that, though. Like, just it kind of just makes sense.
I don't know. I'm kind of the opposite. I think Nikhil Henry is going to go to the Ravens. I think they need more out of a receiver than just some guy that can take the top off. I think they need someone who they can work into the slot, a more all-around player like Nikhil Henry, because they need to be able to run short routes with him and have success with that, just with the way that Lamar is and his play style. So, to be honest, in where I think these guys are going, I think there's going to be some hype bought into Metcalf here, and I think he's going to be the first receiver taken, and Harry's going to go to the Ravens.
Interesting. You think Harry can slip all the way to 22? Hey?
I think so. He's been quite under the radar as far as scouting and what the experts are projecting. I think he can fall to the Ravens, and the Ravens would need to not think twice about taking him.
I don't know. I can already see Metcalf in the jersey, and it's going to be a hard image to get on my mind.
Harry,
imagine just blocking downfield, like for Lamar, huge.
Yeah, he's a massive human being. He's a scary dude. Harry, I got you a guy here. The Oakland Raiders at pick number 24 take Hakeem Butler from Iowa State. He's a big boy too, 6'5", 225 pounds, and I think he can be a future top receiver of the Oakland Raiders. He's got good hands, and I think that he slots right in as an 1,000-yard receiver for the Raiders next season. I think he leads the team in receiving yards. He is the Oakland Raiders offense next year because they don't have a running back right now.
With Antonio Brown, though?
We have 4, okay? So
yeah, you do have 4. Yeah, I don't know about Antonio Brown. I think he's going to freak out or get hurt. I'm not sold on Antonio Brown on the Raiders.
Yeah,
but that'd be a sick one, too.
I'm not sold on the guy as a person, and so it's tough. But I really just hope the best for him, and I don't know. He's got to do something.
I mean, they need someone on the other side.
Harry, it's okay if you say you're excited for Antonio Brown. If I got Antonio Brown, I would be pretty excited.
But it's weird. You'd think you would be, and then it happens, and then it's just Antonio Brown, and, it's bittersweet.
Well, Eli, staying on the Antonio Brown thing here for a sec. You chose Julio over AB in our fantasy keeper league because you had only one first-round pick, and they were both first-rounders. What went into your thinking there?
A couple things went into my thinking here, Riley.
I'm very curious about this, actually, as well.
First of which is consistency. So, if Antonio Brown would have stayed with the Steelers, I generally know what production he's going to put up. Same with Julio Jones, very consistent with the Falcons. Doesn't score as many touchdowns, but he's now trending upwards from the end of the last season. So right away, having Antonio Brown move to the Oakland Raiders, they're not going to be good next year. He might get a lot of passes. We don't play PPR, so that really doesn't matter.
It wasn't that long ago. The Raiders were.
Yeah, and no one really knows where the Raiders are going to be at in general. Derek Carr's in a slump. He's not playing well. He's not playing good, for that matter. So it's tough as a fantasy owner to judge what he's going to do, and then you just put that up against Julio Jones. It's basically it's a basic no-brainer, essentially.
Yeah,
but if
I agree.
you want to take a risk, like to be honest, like I can see Antonio Brown slipping to the second round in most drafts, just because.
Well, in our draft, I think you will. You got to get running backs in our draft.
I think in a 10-man league, Riley, I think you just said it perfectly right there. Running backs is supply and demand. You get the most points consistently from running backs. I don't understand why you wouldn't load your team up with running backs in the draft.
I agree.
Yeah, but that is that is the reasoning behind Julio Jones over Antonio Brown.
I like it. I agree with you. Back to my pre-draft, mock draft receiver rankings here. My number 6 receiver. I like this guy too. There's so many good receivers here. I like Deebo Samuel from South Carolina going in the second round, second overall to the Colts.
Nice.
Colts need a nice wide receiver too to play with T.Y., and I really think Deebo fits the bill. He might be the best route runner in the entire class, and T.Y. runs a pretty good route too. And I just don't think that corners will be able to keep up with both of them. You put your number 1 on T.Y., I think Deebo is really going to be able to beat corners with his footwork, his foot speed, and I think it's a sickening 1-2 punch with T.Y.
Yeah, I like that move as well. The Colts need help for him and Andrew Luck in general. I wouldn't even be opposed to seeing them take someone in the first round just to help that offense out a bit. Their defense is young. Their defense plays well. Their offense just
Andrew
needs
Luck
a bit
still
of
needs
help.
more help.
Yeah, exactly.
Their offensive line, though, like Andrew Luck is fragile. He needs protection.
Yeah.
And he's too good not to protect him.
And this was the hardest thing I've ever done. Pick number 7. It's honestly going to be a coin flip, I think. From 6 to 10, anyone could go in this receiver class. But I took Paris Campbell from Ohio State. Second round, 4th overall to the Niners. I just, the Niners, they were just kind of there last year. And I know that their starting quarterback went down. And I know that their starting running back went down. But I just think that they need a receiver. I think he's a great slot receiver. And I think he'll play really well into Shanahan's offensive style in San Fran. He's got really good speed. His route running's a little underdeveloped. But Shanahan's such a good coach that I think he can really help him out with that. So I think Paris Campbell under Shanahan is a perfect fit.
Nice. That's I'll be completely honest, that's a bit deeper than I've gone with receivers, but we'll see how you do come draft day. Speaking of which, the NFL draft is taking place on, I believe that's Thursday, April 25th. We'll get to see how all of this is going to shake down, if the Cardinals pick their man with the first overall pick, and where these receivers go.
Yeah, and we're going to get one more episode in before then, so I can tell you who my top 5 running backs are as well.
Of course.
Yep. And we have that to look forward to next week before the draft. But
the draft very well could be the best day in sports for the Raiders this year. So I'm going to live it up.
Could be a good day.
Yeah, I would be careful with that.
Could be a good day.
Thanks for that, Eli. I can see a lot of not very sexy picks coming from Oakland, just judging on your head coach. I can see lots of maybe a defensive lineman or 2, probably an offensive lineman or 2, and maybe some secondary help.
Well, and they're getting Hakeem Butler.
See, that's the thing about being an Oakland Raiders fan. I didn't hear anything you just said. It's going to be good.
Perfect.
All right. Well, with that, that's everything we have for you guys today. As always, thank you again for listening. Check us out on the social medias at Squib Kick Radio. And with that, we will talk to you guys next week.
Go Flames.
I got you stuck off the realness. Think not the shit's too hot. Too hot. Too hot. Rock you in your face. Dab your brain. bone, nose bone, nose bone. I'm a vampire walking on the surface of the sun.